Hello, hello, hello. This is Teresa Parker with Teresa Parker Art. And tonight we are going to paint something different. I was looking for a winter scene, but just something different. And I found this. It's a Scandinavian style snowman. And I'm going to paint him tonight on I was just going to do it on Patreon, but I'm also going to post it on my Facebook page. So it'll be on Teresa Parker Art Facebook. I'm also on Patreon under Teresa Parker Art, and that's my subscription service, and where you can become a member at different levels. But I'm going to go ahead and post this here, and then you can go to my Patreon site. You can sign up, and you can get the supplies I use. You can get the tracer, and I'll also try to do a write-up for how it's done, how I did it tonight. So anyway, thank you for joining me, and we will get started real soon. Thanks. I'll be right back. Okay, so let's get started. I decided I'm going to go ahead and post this tracer, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how it's done from the very beginning and how I put my tracer on my canvas, because some of you might not know how. This is a used canvas, and I just went over it with white. It was actually really dark, as you can tell, but that'll all go away with the new painting. And so I'm going to show you how to do this. The tracer, you have your canvas, and the tracer goes shiny side. See, it's shiny and not shiny. Shiny side goes down, and then the actual tracer goes right over the top. Okay, and you get it positioned where you want it. And then, let me swivel you down here real quick. Okay, so let's get started. I decided I'm going to go ahead and post this tracer, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how it's done from the very beginning and how I put my tracer on my canvas, because some of you might not know how. This is a used canvas, and I just went over it with white. It was actually really dark, as you can tell, but that'll all go away with the new painting. And so I'm going to show you how to do this. The tracer, you have your canvas, and the tracer goes shiny side. See, it's shiny and not shiny. Shiny side goes down, and then the actual tracer goes right over the top. Okay, and you get it positioned where you want it. And then, let me swivel you down here real quick. Okay, so you're gonna hear my dogs barking, and I do apologize. But I've got this on the canvas. There's the very top, and here's the very bottom. It actually just fits. And all I'm gonna do is trace all my marks here. And I'll show you what it looks like underneath, and then we'll just keep going, and I'll finish tracing it, and then we'll start painting. This one looked really fun because it was just so different. And sometimes I just, want something that looks a little different, a little exciting, different colors, things like that. So I'm going to hold my hand on it because I don't want it to go anywhere. You can also use blue tape, or the green tape, or you have tape that doesn't stick real well, and you can tape it to the canvas. I'm just holding it, and that's what it's going to look like underneath, so you can see all my marks. And we will cover those marks with paint. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and we will get started painting. Be right back. Okay, so I did this on my used canvas, and unfortunately it's kind of dark still in the background, but that's all right. We're going to work with that. Tonight I'm going to use craft paints: pumpkin, white, black. Actually that's Hooker's green, but it's like a thicket in the craft paint colors. I don't know if can you see that? Okay. And this is a metallic espresso that I'm going to put in the background. This is, what is that one? Antique white. And then Italian sage. And we're going to go with those different colors instead of the regular winter colors. So I'm going to go ahead and work on the background. This will be interesting since I did do a tracer. So I'm going to mix a little white. Let me show you. We're going to mix a little white with the espresso, or whatever background color you want, really. I just want it kind of a different color, kind of a beige, and we're just going to tap it in here. I'm going to try to go around most of my design I have in there, because the background does not have to be perfect. And some of the stars and stuff, we'll get that from the picture as we paint. But for the main items, I'm going to go ahead and kind of leave it out there. And those little dots, I can kind of see through there. And I'm just literally dabbing this on, this beige background. And put it in between all my little leaves there. Oops, it kind of got over his arm, but I can still see through there. So that's kind of nice when you trace it, being able to, and you use the lighter colors on the background that are kind of iridescent. You can see through them a little bit. If I would have covered this like in a black or a gray, you probably wouldn't be able to see the lines. So you need to make sure that if you use a darker color that is more opaque, which means it's darker and it covers better, just make sure you can see all your lines if you need to. Otherwise, you can paint however you want to paint it. Let's see, we'll go down like this, around his hat, down by his little scarf, his arm. Oops, got a little bit inside, that's okay. And I just added more white and more of the espresso, and see the difference in colors. I added more white, and that's good too. And I definitely want it between all the leaves because we want to be able to see the background. Oops, that's a lot of white. See the background through it. See, now that covered that whole area, so I have to use the picture to paint that because the white just took it out. And he does have two little feet down there, which I think is cute. So yeah, I was kind of looking around and it said this was a Scandinavian style snowman. And I thought, you know, it looks really cute. I like the decorative art. Like how in, I believe it was Russia, when they didn't have paint for their houses, they would actually use, you know, different colors because they didn't have like a lot of one color. And they would do decorative painting on their house, which is where the kind of the one stroke came from. It's very similar, the one stroke painting. Okay, so there's my little background, and I'm gonna add a little more white in certain areas just because I don't want it to be flat. So I'm just gonna tap in some white. We'll see what happens. And you know, when we get done, I might tap in some other colors. I'm just plain white on my dirty brush, and I'm just kind of going around and touching the brush to the canvas just because I don't want it to be flat. Over here, add a little white. It won't really matter against him because he'll be mostly white. Okay, so there's the background. It looks a little snowy, wintry, and I do want to cover all this dark color I had originally when I was, since I'm using an old canvas that I did not like the painting, and thought, yeah, I'll just paint over that with this. Works great. I love to reuse. Yeah, so that doesn't look so flat. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is, I have to make sure you can see all that. I'm painting flat tonight because it is just an 8x10, and it's just easier rather than having to finagle with my easel. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with orange, and it doesn't matter where you start. So I've got a very, it's actually, to me it looks like a detail brush, but it says it's a round brush, and I'm just gonna roll it in the paint, okay? And I'm going to get the excess paint off so it comes kind of to a tip on the end. And I'm going to go ahead and paint the outside of these guys right here with the tip of the pen, with the tip of the ink. And it's a little thicker. So I'm just going to go on the outside, and you'll have to reload. These brushes don't hold much paint, but that's okay too because you want it more detailed there. At least I do. And let's see, put this in like this. Oh, I think I forgot the red. Okay, I gotta add that to the list. There's also, looks more like, doesn't look really red. It looks more like maybe wine color. So I'll get that too. So there's that one. And then we're gonna go ahead and continue dipping the orange in, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go over here and paint these guys that are orange here. And you know what? I'm actually going to go to my fine liner. So let me find my fine liner for this. If I can find it, here it is. So this is my absolute liner, okay? Now what I want to do is, because these are tiny little lines, I'm going to dip the brush into water, and I'm going to put it into the orange, and I'm going to kind of make it inky. See how that's kind of almost an ink pen-esque? And we're going to go ahead and we'll do the little bitty lines with that. Well, maybe not. Got it too wet, and that's okay. Let me see. Let me add a little more paint to that. It was a little too wet. And then over here, there's one right here. And there's a star here. It's kind of orange. And I'm just going to go with what is on the painting. You can do any color, of course. Get a little more paint, and let's go down to more orange over here at the star. Where is that star? Right here. See how easy that's, like a very inky kind of paint. And then we've got one more up here. It's like a stem. Let's see, he's about right here. Okay. And there's a star up here, a little bitty star. Oh, that's too much paint. Okay, we'll try this again, little bitty star. Okay. And let's see, you know, I'm going to go ahead and do the orange circles. And so the orange circles, oh, there's not any orange circles at all. Oh yeah, there's a few. But also this guy right here has orange. And then these four little circles, I'm just going to touch the paint. I'm going to get regular thick paint and just touch it to it. Make my 4 circles there. His little feet, which we will probably have to repaint. And let's see, there's some orange over here, maybe about right here, a bigger circle. Of course, remember, you can do anything you want. And there's a little circle, and maybe smaller circle here. Okay, I do need to get my red out, the wine, but next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work with, I decided it does look blue in the picture, but I really like this. Oops, it's kind of dry. I really like this sage color. So we're going to use the Italian sage. I need a little water because it sat out for too long. I'm going to mix it with a little water, make it thinner. And instead of light blue, I'm going to use the sage. So we're going, oh, where'd it go? There's his hand. We have one here, kind of like this, and one here. And I am just painting in the little dots here. Now, I painted over everything, so I'm just kind of going on the fly. And that's his hand there, and it comes in under his hand. So, I'm going to use the same sage, and we're going to do the little plants here. And this is just to fill them in, and then we will use the darker color to do the detail work on them. And there's one here. And one here, which you can still kind of see. Okay. Shh. Sorry, my dogs are gonna bark again. Okay, now over here, I'm gonna also do this. Anything light blue on that picture, I just decided to do sage because I like the sage. I'm gonna do a little more water, and I'm just dipping it in the paint like that, getting a little wet because it dried off while I was doing my tracing and everything. Got ahead of myself and put my paint out too early, which I do that sometimes. Get all excited. Okay, we'll put one, let's see, where's the other one? Right about here. And right about here. Oops, it's kind of round. Let me fix him like that. Okay, and then this guy is like about right here. And he's little. Okay, and then I'm going to go over here, and we've got this one. And it's like this. I just love the detail brush. It can cover a lot quick. And then this one it's very long. And then one comes up through here. And if you lay your brush flat, it covers also. And you'll get, once you play with your brushes, you really do get a handle on them, and you know what they can do for you. They're all different. I'm just gonna fill in these little green dots on this one. And let's do, let's make some dots up here. This one, it looks like it has a blue dot here. And maybe by his hand, I'm missing his hand. Maybe ear. That looks like a good spot. And then a couple over here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to take the dark green. It'll also need a little bit of water because it sat out too long. Mine did. Yours might not need it. But again, if you want it very smooth, you can make it inky, like almost like a paint pen. Okay. And then we're going to fill in here. So it goes kind of like this. Let me get a little more water. Make it a lot thinner here. Like this. And then we're going to put in the lines for the light green we drew. And you can do this the other way around too. You can put in your lines, then your circles, however you want to do it. Okay, now over here, I'll put these guys in here. Like so. And mine will not look like yours. Again, I'm just kind of going off the cuff here because I did cover most of my lines, but there's enough here I can still see where it should be. Now that I've missed, it's orange down the center of that is going to be orange, and this one. So we're going to go ahead and finish this up here, and then we'll go back to that. And this is just little bitty lines. And if you can see it on your tracer, you can just cover them as they're on your tracer. I'm just faking it. Okay, and then over here, we're gonna do the line down the middle. And these lines from this to the little green dots. And actually, I'm going to rinse off my brush real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and, I missed some of the light green, which actually goes up. It's like an extra streak here, which I thought was pretty cool. And we'll just put in a couple of extra green lines just to fill that in because I like it. You can do it however you would like. And I clean my brush, and while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and get the orange. And let's put in this line here and connect it to these guys. And then this one here, like so. Okay. And I'm also going to, while I've got orange out, I'm going to put some orange dots here because I like it. All right. So now we're back to, it is blue. Let's make, this one is going to be, I replaced the blue with green. So I'm going to dip my brush into green, and we're going to paint this one dark green. It would be very pretty blue if you want to use the blues. And the blues is just a darker blue, maybe a medium blue, and a very pale blue. And I'm going to need to get my paintbrush wet here. Okay, and you can't really see the middle, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to paint this in. So now it's solid green. But what I'm going to do is mix just a little bit of the black with the green. And we're going to make a really dark green, and I'm going to make that line down the middle. And all I did was start with my brush up And as I went down, I just pushed it to make it fatter and then bring it back up to the tip. And there's that dark line. And let's see, I rinsed my brush. And, oh, I shouldn't have, but that's okay, because we're going to go back into the dark green, just the regular dark green. We're going to put these lines in here. And I do put my pinky down, and that actually helps steady my hand when I'm doing lines. So when you see me touching my canvas, that's why I'm doing it. It keeps me more steady. Okay, I'm gonna rinse my brush. And I missed orange again, so I'm gonna go back into the orange. This does happen. Okay. Perfect. Now I'm gonna take, I'm gonna go ahead and get the orange and my paintbrush. We're gonna go ahead and paint this side of the hat. And I'm just dragging the brush down and this way. It's a lot of paint. Okay. And then bring it out here more. Alrighty. Now what we need to do is around these, it's a very light orange. So what I'm gonna do, actually, I'm not gonna use orange. I'm gonna get my brush wet and we're gonna use the antique white and make it inky. And this is actually goes around like this. Okay. And on this one here. And I'm just filling in just a little bit just to give it a little color. And those two are the brown, or the antique white. Okay. So now the color I did not tell you that we need, I have to find it real quick. It's going to be, I like berry wine. Let me see what I can find. Cardinal red. I guess we could do red. Let me see. Sorry. Find it very well. Oh, here we go. Okay. I think, yay. Okay, this is berry wine, and this is just a craft paint, and it is a maroon color. Okay, so there is the berry wine. I'm going to, again, I'm going to just use my detail brush only because it's easier for me. You use whatever brush you'd like. And we're gonna paint in the side of his hat. I need to add a little water to make it a little bit more inky because it does spread easier. And we'll fill in his hat with a little maroon or a little berry wine. You can also make it with red and a little bit of brown. It will also give you the same color. And that's round. Okay. And I'm going to fill this in. And I'm going to go kind of around his points here because, you know, it doesn't matter. I know where that star is, or that snowflake. No worries. We're just going to fill that in. You can go around each one if you want, but we know where that is. Okay, make it a little bit more inky. And I'm just gliding it, literally gliding it by the hat, by the orange. On the hat, okay. Put him in here, we'll make that straight. I did go out of the line, but that's okay. Just give him a little bit bigger hat. Okay. Now, the maroon also goes here, fills in these little circles. In here. And here. I'm just gliding it over. Kind of laying it down to fill it in. Okay. No, I'm going to take a little bit of the beige and I'm going to put it here where the white is, so at least it has a little color. And then it got into the little maroon color, and that's fine too. I'm just going to add that little color there instead of letting the canvas show through. Okay, I rinsed my brush, and now let's go ahead and let's get a larger brush. You know, not that big of a brush since it's a kind of a small painting. Let's see, what do I have here? What is this one? Nope. Let's see, how about we use this one? This is, oh, let me see if I can show that. See my little brush here? So it doesn't tell me what number it is on the brush, but it's about 1/4 of an inch. And it's got a little slant to it. And I'm going to go ahead and dip it into the maroon color, or the berry wine. And I'm gonna dip it in water. I do want this kind of inky, okay? And we're gonna paint the middle portion of the scarf. And when it's inky, you can kind of see those lines right through it. So we're gonna do that way. And then it goes down into the middle of the little part that's hanging down right here. Okay, and got that covered. That kind of looks good with the lines on it. I like that. And I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush. A lot of rinsing today. And we're going to go ahead and get the orange. And we're going to use orange around the top of it. Here. And the bottom here. And fill that in. I can still see all the little lines, decorations, which is good. And this probably needs to come out like this, and maybe even outline the maroon just so it looks like it's one piece to me. Okay, oops, I didn't need to rinse. So let's keep using the orange and bring it down this way. And it might take a little bit of the orange to cover the lines, but I was thinking of outlining it, so I might outline it in black. Let's see what happens. And that goes like this. Okay. So now we'll kind of let that dry. So with the same brush, I'm going to rinse it out really, really good. Get all the orange off of there. Now I'm going to use a little of the antique white and mix it with the white. So it's kind of not quite antique. We're going to go around the side of his face like so to kind of give him a little color, a little shadow. And I'll bring it around and kind of on this side as well. And it's funny, it's kind of mixing with that brown, that shiny color. It looks good. And I'm also going to do the white and the antique white mixed. And we're going to bring it down here. And we're just going to kind of give him a shadow. Oh, sorry. And this way. Caesar, so sorry. Okay, now with the same dirty brush, I'm going to go ahead and grab white. And I'm going to kind of blend it in with that antique white color we made. And we're going to finish up the snowman with that. And we're going to kind of blend it in. Now you can see my black kind of showing through from the canvas earlier. And actually I think that's okay. So we're going to have a little bit of noise, but I'm going to go ahead and finish up the white here. Sorry, it's almost dinner time, so we have some activity going around here. Our youngest is in from the Air Force visiting, so they're going to barbecue steaks tonight for us. And let's see, I'm just going to keep blending that white in. I know where the dots are. We're just going to run into that antique yellow, kind of so it's just got a shadow. Same with the face. Just going to blend that in with the antique. Kind of like that. Easy peasy. And you can keep it kind of a circular motion, so it looks like a snowball. And we gotta let it dry. Okay. So now I'm going to take the same detail brush. I'm going to get a little wet, and I'm going to use let's go ahead and use the black. We'll make it a little inky. Yeah, craft paint's sure acrylic dries really quick, but we'll bring that back to life with a little bit of water. And I'm going to paint his eyes here. And I'm just touching it and swinging that brush around to kind of get that round look. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let's see, it's just not inky enough. I'm gonna make it a little bit more wet for me, like that. And let's do the circles. I'm just dabbing it to make the circles on his mouth. And you can do this with a very small detail brush and make it perfect if you want, however you'd like. Okay, and I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna put in his little buttons. I'm still using my detail brush with the inky black. And with the same thing, I'm gonna use the inky black to put in his arms here. And his fingers. And then over here, I kind of lost it, but looks like it's just straight across here. Like that. And then we'll give him his little fingers. Like that. Just touch him up. I can kind of see where my lines were. Now, I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush. And, oh, you know what? Yeah, it's okay. I'm going to rinse my brush, and then we're going to use I'll go ahead and use the orange since it's right here. We'll see if I can do this without adding water. And do his nose. Like so. And I'm going to go ahead and make an inky orange here. We're going to go ahead and add a little water, make it kind of inky. See how easy that is? And let's go ahead and put in this star here, or this snowflake. Not sure quite what it is. Snowflake. Like so. And then they put in the little tips, little tiny lines. I'm barely touching the canvas. A little bit, just a touch of paint on there. Okay, so I got his little snowflake, and then there's like a couple of little lines here that start fat, so I'm going to push it, and as I come down, I'm going to lift up the brush, and same here, lift up the brush and pull down. And then he's got 3 dots over here, and just dipped it in the paint, and I'm just touching the canvas to make those dots. And his little feet. I like his little feet. Okay, I'm going to rinse my brush out now. And let's go ahead and get the berry wine, which is the maroon. And my brush is a little damp. Let's make it inky. I've got to dip the water in because it's kind of drying out on me. So I added water. And we're going to add his little cheeks and just make little circles. Then he's got some little maroon kind of dots, kind of streaks up here. And then I'm just going to go over this a little bit to make it a little bit darker. And again, you can make this any colors you want. Okay. Now, with the maroon, there was something else. Just make sure I don't miss anything here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add in these dots up here. They're kind of maroon or berry. It kind of turned out too big, but that's okay. I want to kind of be circular. And let's see if there's any more. Maybe one down here. I'm just going to touch the canvas. And looks like that's about all the maroon. So what I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to take that berry wine or maroon, and I'm going to add a little bit of black. And we're going to make this a dark, dark maroon. See how dark that is right there? So that's the color. It's not quite black. Then we're going to put the streaks in the hat. So you can see the difference here. And it's just little streaks. And then I have to wet my brush and make it inky because it's definitely drying out. And we're going to go ahead and do this line here. And this line here. And then the little marks. And there is another line in between. Now, for this line, I'm going to flatten out my brush against the plate so I get a really nice tip, and we're just going to put in straight down, and we're just going to drag it and put in that middle line. And then, same flat tip, we're just going to put in these other lines that are here. And then this has a line. Oops. Add a little paint here. Okay, we're still in that dark berry wine color. I'm going to flatten the brush again. And it kind of goes around like this. We're going to put it like that. And then we've got the line here and the little marks that come off. Like that. I'm just touching the canvas. And there's one here and one here. I think that's all the maroon. Okay. So I'm going to rinse out my brush. Now I'm going to get an inky. I'm going to use a little bit of water and back to my orange. I know it's crazy, all this back and forth. And we're going to use inky orange and flatten the brush like we did before. And we're just going to draw in the fringe, paint in the fringe. Okay. And I think that's all the orange. Okay. So I'm going to rinse my brush really good because now I want to use white. I'm going to dry it off. Let's see if my white works here. Okay. So I'm going to flatten the brush again. Okay, make it really flat. And we're going to, let's see if I can put this on here without might run into that color. Okay. And then we're going to do the little marks like that it's got. With the very tip of the brush and what's left over of the paint. I'm just moving the paintbrush back and forth to get that. Then with more white paint, we're going to dip it back in. This time we're going to roll it to make that little round tip. And let's put the white on the eye and the white on the eye. The secret to eyes, if you put the dot on the left side of this eye, put the dot on the left side of that eye, or they're going to look like he's cross-eyed, or make his eyes look like they're wonky. And that's a professional term. And we're going to put a little white on the buttons to highlight them. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it really round here. And let's do the little circle here that connects all these little guys. Alrighty, and I think that's a little more white. I'm going to make it a little inky, okay? And let's flatten the brush like we did before. And we're just going to put in these last little lines here. And then this one. Okay. And one last thing, we're going to rinse the brush and we're going to dip it into the black and fill in the circle up here. All right. And I think I'm going to stick with the original version of the Scandinavian Snowman and not outline him in black and leave him like that. I think he's very cute. I really like this style. And I just think it's awesome. So I'm just kind of looking over to see if I'm missing anything. One thing I think I missed is I'm going to use my liner brush. And again, I'm going to dip it into the Italian sage. And there's like some lines here to highlight this. Make it not so dark. Put a little sage there. Okay. And I think we can call that done. What do you think? Let me know if we need anything else. And let me know if you like him. If you do him, please, if you paint him, please post it because I would really like to see it. And let's see. I think that's about it. So there's my finished little Scandinavian snowman. I really had fun painting this. I hope you paint it. And if you do like I asked you, please post a picture either here or on the Patreon site, whichever one works. And do your own colors and use your own colors and make it your own. And I look forward to seeing it. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll see you soon. Bye.